It's 2020 and the world is very worried about COVID-19. What does astrology say about this deadly virus? In some of my other videos, I talked about this Jupiter-Saturn cycle. So what happens is that Jupiter and Saturn in the sky will meet every 20 years. We call this the Great Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. Now, every time that there is a conjunction, it is in a completely different element. What's happening interestingly in 2020 is that we are actually going to see a series of conjunctions that were in the Earth sign suddenly move into the air sign. So we call this an elemental shift. What this phenomenon is going to take place for the entire universe and the entire world. And every time a shift like this occurs, now this happens every 200 years. When this occurs, you'll find that there is a series of changes in our world, which includes everything from the economy all the way to, you guessed it, diseases. So now that the world is getting all excited about this disease that we call COVID-19, a respiratory disease that attacks the lungs, we want to see what does astrology really show about this. So what I'm about to show you here is that we're looking for a pattern for a disease that is going to be a new disease that the world has never seen before. And previously, 200 years ago, somewhere in the region of about 1816, you'll find that a new disease occurred in the world, and this disease is called cholera. So 200 years ago, the transition that we're looking at is as the world moved from fire to earth. And what this means is that the disease that we were expecting to show up around that time would be associated with the earth element. So 200 years ago, what happened with cholera is that it was transmitted by feces, right? Basically shit, right? And so that pretty much was an earth disease, and you found that because people lived so close together, because of the rise of cities and the Industrial Revolution, it became very easy for cholera to spread during that time. And between 1816 all the way to the 1970s, so we're looking at a period of about 150 years thereabouts, cholera actually attacked the world in 7 different stages, of which during the period where fire actually moved to earth was when the disease was the worst. So now, if we're going to fast forward right now into 2020, and now that the world's getting all excited about COVID-19, as we move from earth to air, what we're looking for here is a kind of disease that is going to be associated with air. And what we have here with COVID-19 is a respiratory disease that affects the windpipes, and basically, until we know more about the disease, it seems to be well, some people say it's airborne, some people it's not transmitted airborne, but the point is that because it's respiratory, it will associate itself with the air element. So what we're looking at here is that if we followed the pattern from the previous cholera outbreak, we are looking for diseases that would have started in our time just before the year 2000. So that means we're looking at something around the lines of 1998 to 1999. So in my research, what I found is that there is a specific kind of disease that the world has never seen before, but which actually emerged around this time. And the keyword that we're looking for here is viruses. And so this is the list of viruses that I have collected from my research. It began in 1998 and it started with the Nipah virus. Okay, so, and after that was the big one, is called SARS, which happened between 2002 to 2004. And in Singapore, where I'm from, SARS it hit us really badly in 2003. After that, in 2006, there was the chikungunya, which is also a virus. And in 2007, we had Ebola, which is also a virus. And after that, 2008, all the way to 2017, this is a period of about 9 years, where the hand-foot-mouth disease, also a virus, was also very rampant. In 2009, there was the flu pandemic. This occurred mainly in the United States, which killed off, like, I think, 6 figures number of people. We had MERS that emerged in 2012 to 2015. Then Ebola came back in 2013. We had H1N1 in 2015. Zika that came out in 2005 to 2016. And of course, now in 2019 to present, we have COVID-19. Now, the point that I'm trying to make here is that ever since 1998, there's been a new virus every couple of years, right? It's almost every year a new virus, okay? So essentially, COVID-19 may be a new disease that we haven't seen until 2020, at least for Singapore. But you'll find that this pattern of viruses that has been happening since 1998 indicates that actually COVID-19 is probably just one type of virus in an entire series of viruses. And if the world is going to continue with the pattern that we've seen in the past, we should be looking at about 150 to 200 years of this pattern of viruses. So much as COVID-19 has been called a deadly virus, but in fact, if you look at most of the viruses I've listed earlier, many of them were actually a lot more deadly than COVID-19. Right, so we're going to ask everybody to sort of remain calm and be practical because we could be looking at a long series of viruses, COVID-19 just being one of them. Right, so these are some of the great, interesting insights that astrology can provide as to some of the world phenomena that we're seeing. So have you noticed any more trends as we move from element to element? Share with us in the comments below, follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more useful content like this. These industries will start to fade as 2020 moves on and beyond.